Hey y'all, it's Megan. Welcome back to the channel. Glad y'all are here today. Well, we got a pretty eventful day today. Just all happened to fall on the same day, but I just got a phone call from the post office that I've got chicks that's been delivered this morning. So, fixing to go get them. I went ahead and cut the heat lamp on. It's not too cold this morning, but they're going to be cold when they get here. The post office is about 15 minutes away. So we're gonna run get them. A beautiful sunrise this morning. We can't typically see the sunrise from our house, but sure is pretty. They're making lots of noise, so that's a good sign. We'll see how they look when we get home. Alright, so everybody is alive. There's 51. You showed just a couple of them the water. The rest of them will find it. But you can see they're a little cold. It's about 38 degrees this morning. So I'm going to shut this door so they can be getting warm in here. It gets pretty warm in this building when I've got the windows and everything shut off. So I'm going to get them some food fixed here in a little bit. But their main thing is water. That's what they need when they first get here, water and heat. So if you hadn't heard in previous videos, we order our chicks from a small hatchery in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, Valley Farms Hatchery. I found them by accident. I believe it was in 2021, and I've been more than satisfied with their chicks and their Cornish. These are Cornish cross meat chickens, and I've been more than satisfied with their services. So we'll check on these little guys here in just a little bit. It's got eyes on both ends there. So we finished up school for today, and now we're getting our potatoes ready to be planted. We're hopefully going to get them in the ground this evening. Now, some folks cut them up a week or two ahead of time and let them dry out, and it's called chitting your potatoes, C-H-I-T. We just ain't never done that around here, even when I was growing up. It may be our climate. I don't know the reason we don't have any trouble not doing it. So I'm not telling you not to, I'm just telling you we don't do it. So we just cut them up and make sure each piece has at least one eye on it. The eyes can be big like that, or they can be little tiny ones. So we're just working on getting all these done. We usually do half seed potatoes and half our old potatoes. Just the seed potatoes seem to do a little bit better than the old potatoes. But if you're looking for a frugal option, it is perfectly fine to plant your old potatoes from last year. Most likely they will still come up and make you some potatoes. Are you y'all making sure there's eyes on them, right?
Mm-hmm. Look, it was like that.
Okay, that works.
Here?
Look at this one. So there's an eye, there's an eye, there's an eye. So,
why do they call eyes?
Because they can see you.
Maggie, guess what? You can never tell a story about you can never tell a secret about a garden. You know why?
Why?
Potatoes got eyes and And corn got ears. That one don't got no.
You get it, Maggie? So y'all, I just went and dug through some of our old potatoes to find some to cut up to plant. And I just want to show y'all how well these have kept the way we kept them this year. And now we got pretty cold there a while back, and we didn't really lose any. So some of these are going to go in the house. I'll just break these eyes off. And some of them that were on the outside of the tobacco sack, like, they're a little rougher looking, so we'll plant those. So those have been put up since around beginning to middle of August last year, and that's how well they've kept. So if you're interested to see how we keep our potatoes, I'll be sure to link that video. We tried something a little different, a more old-timey method of keeping the potatoes, and y'all, I am so pleased with how this worked. We've tried it down in our basement in the root cellar. I think it's too damp down there. They don't keep very good down there, so we were trying different things to find the perfect place to keep our potatoes, and I think we found it. So gotta get these cut up now. All right, so the ones you saw me cutting up first, the white potatoes, were Kennebec and russet potatoes. Maybe russet, I have to ask Andy. But anyways, we also like to plant the Yukon Gold potatoes and the red potatoes. These are red Norlands. So we don't plant many of those. As you can see, we just do like a bag a piece. I find here in our climate anyway, these two do not store nearly as well as the white potatoes. So we plant just enough of these for us to eat on for a month or two. And then just because in our experience in the past, when we've planted a bunch of them, they just don't store well at all. So I gotta get these cut up. Here's a quick little chick update. They're all eating and drinking well. I've got one right here. He seems a little like he's not feeling quite as good as the rest of them. So it's normal with these Cornish cross, especially, to lose, I mean, as many as 3 or 4 when they're this little. I hadn't had that happen in a couple of years, but don't let it get you down if you do. But you can see this little one right here. He just ain't as spry as the rest of them, but sometimes they come out of that, so we'll see.
So I come up here, I guess it was last night, and tilled over this spot with the tractor and got it ready to plant. And so today we're going to use the Farm On 140 to plant them. And what I'm going to do, or how we do it, is I've got this plow that goes in the 1-point hitch here. This middle plow, you know, some people call it a middle buster, layoff plow, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to make a row right down the middle there, and we'll throw our potatoes in that furrow. And then I'll take this plow off and use the disc under the tractor to cover the potatoes back up.
So I know in the last video, we had a couple of comments wanting to know why we didn't put the chickens on the cover crop up here. Well, this potato patch is about half a mile or a little more from our house, and y'all, if we put chickens up here, they would not make it. So
yeah, we don't have power for the fence energizer. We don't have water up here. You know, it's just not. I mean, it is a great thing that I wish we could do, but it's just not really economical for us to do. Let's put it that way.
right.
But I may end up having to take these shanks off that plow out the tractor tracks, because it may get hard to tell which one's our row and which one's that got plowed out. I want to see what it looks like first, and if we can tell the difference, we'll just keep rolling with it. So, y'all, we're probably going to get asked, why in the world do we plant so many potatoes? Well, these are mainly Kennebec potatoes up here. And we sell them to neighbors, give them away, whatever, you know. They're not all for us. However, a lot of them for us, but they're not all for us. And we have, you know, a few neighbors who normally get potatoes from us every year. And so we just try to keep that thing going, you know, and help them out. But if you're wondering why, that's why we're planting so many. And we're actually not planting as many this time as we did last year, because this year I think I'm going to leave a few rows out and we're going to plant some other stuff up here towards the front of this patch. But let's see how this is going to go. And then we do actually plant a few more potatoes at home too in our beds there at the house, which those are more like your fingerlings and, you know, the what I call specialty type potatoes. But anyways, let's see how this goes. First row we're going to plant is going to be the Yukon Golds and our red potatoes here. And that way we can just kind of keep up with where they are. We'll know which one's them. Wow. And then the rest is all going to be white potatoes.
Look at these.
All right, there you go. See, y'all, we try to lay them in the ground with the eyes up, but they don't always end up that way. And they always do just fine either way. They just may take a little longer. They just may take a little longer to come up when you have the lie down, because it, you know, it has to turn around and come out. But we like to plant them, I don't know, what is that? Probably 6 or 8 inches apart right there?
Yeah.
We ended up having just the perfect amount that was ready to cut up, and the old potatoes we brought with us. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 rows. So now I'm gonna take this plow right here off. Set it out of the way, so we don't want it plowing our potatoes back up. And this go around, I'll be putting the fertilizer by them too. So I've got to fill up my hopper. And you may see me jump off and have to adjust on the disc, because I'm not sure I've got everything set right. So I may have to do some adjusting on that. But I need to get some fertilizer and fill this thing up. I'm just gonna put one bag in there for now. We'll see how far that goes.
All right. got a few onions we're gonna plant up here. So Andy's healing up another spot. So this is not a potato row, but he's using the same disc to make us some hills for the onions.
Oh, I have to get down on my knees for this one. Well, we got those onions planted. Those were actually free onions that somebody gave me up the road here. But we'll see how they turn out. They got a little old. They shouldn't have been coming out like they were, but I think they're going to be just fine. But I don't know. I think me and Megan were just talking about it. I think we're going to save this section right here for some watermelons this summer and leave it just like that so they've got room to sprawl out without being crowded with anything else. While Megan is milking, I'm going to try to get the rest of our potatoes planted before supper time here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm planting these two. Well, you can't, they're not too distinct right now. But there's a row here and there's a row here. And these are our, what you call our no-till beds out in the yard. You know, over there is where I planted the onions the other day. Then this is our garlic. And these are going to be potatoes this year. So, it's getting too hot for that thing. This is going to be my first time ever planting like a no-till type potato. So I'm kind of curious of how this is going to work out. But as y'all probably already figured out, we like planting things in multiple different ways. So just because we plant something one way one time don't mean we're always going to do it that way again. So we just like to try things and see what works. But for up here in the yard, these are French Franklin potatoes. These right here are German butterballs. And these are some I've never even heard of. Austrian crescent. I've never planted any of these potatoes, so I don't know anything about those. But anyways, I don't have very many of those cut up, but I think I do have enough to plant this. So what I'm going to do is take my hoe and dig me a couple holes out through there and dig holes out through there. We'll drop the potato in and cover it back up. So those are done. I will say, planting potatoes that way is a lot more work. That tractor takes all the work out of it. But no, I'm interested to see how these do for real, because the ground here has not loosened up quite like the ground in that other bed over there. So this ground was a little bit harder to work. So I was just thinking about it. So if you dig a hole in the ground with a shovel to plant something, or I mean with a hoe to plant something, is it still technically no-till? Because aren't you kind of tilling the soil when you dig a hole? I was just thinking about that while I was planting those potatoes. So all I have now, got the German butterballs left to plant, and I'm doing them sort of different as well. So got another experiment going on over here. I don't have a very big bed made up for these. So this spot right here at the end of our onion beds is really deep in leaves. All of these are leaves that I dumped on here when I sucked the leaves up out of the yard. And so what I'm going to do with these is just rake the leaves back till I get down to the dirt and lay a potato in there and cover it up. I don't know if it's going to work. And to be honest with you, if it don't work, I think we've got plenty of potatoes anyways. I just want to see if it'll work. So it's not like a this has got to work kind of thing. You can literally, if it don't work, I'm fine with it. I just want to try it and see. And if it does work, you know, this may be a good way to do potatoes from now on, because these, I'm pretty sure these leaves, you can see how thick those leaves are. I think they're so thick that that weeds, there ain't gonna be no weeds or nothing come up through that. And now that bed over there, once the potatoes start growing, we probably will go back in with another layer of mulch, something like some hay or something, and cover everything back up. But you know, other than that, I don't really expect to do a lot to those. So we'll see how that goes. Well, there they are. This is going to be real interesting to see how this works. And I'll tell you what gave me the idea was last year we had some of the prettiest potatoes ever come up in the middle of the compost pile. Well, then the part they were in was pretty much the leaf pile from the leaves off of our yard. And I guess they just were old potatoes that got thrown in there or something. I really don't know where it come from. But you know, those potatoes grew in a pile of leaves. So it's going to be real interesting to see how this does. But you can see, I got a row here, I got a row right in the middle, and I got a row right here. Now this row and this row are actually down in the ground. Like they're just pretty much covered up with leaves, but they're, you know, planted into the ground. This middle row right here, it is buried in leaves. There's no soil around this middle row. But now at the very bottom, the leaves are starting to decompose, you know. So, like I say, totally an experiment. We're going to see how it works. And I honestly hope it works good. And I have a feeling it's going to work good. But time will tell.
Well, y'all, tonight we're having homemade chicken and dumplings. Something pretty easy and quick to throw together.
Don't that look good?
And we like the fluffy dumplings. Like to make those around here. Everybody has their own preference, but they're pretty big. You have to dig you a couple out.
I like biscuits on top of it.
Yeah.
You just covered your spoon.
That's so funny.
I can't wait to dig into those. Chicken and dumplings are some of my favorite food.
Chicken's in there somewhere. I'm trying to find it. But anyways, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed today's video and hope you learned a little something. And be sure to say hello down in the comments. And we love to hear from you.
Yep. And I guess we're going to enjoy some supper.
Yep. So anyways, guys, we'll see y'all on the next one.
Have a good one.